Alright, so update on the auto key card. A not guilty plea was put in, which is pretty cool. That means he's actually going to fight it, and it's very important he fights and wins this case because it would have ramifications across the gun community if he loses for a very long time. Now, I don't want to glorify the fact that he got arrested, but it is in fact a blessing in disguise. A lot of the stuff that we're facing has to do with what looks like something now is something. Now, unless you want to get caught up in federal prison and fight this yourself, he needs to be supported. Because if he wins, it'll put a huge break on the ATF and a lot of their stuff. Because that would set a precedent that, hey, just because something looks like something does not mean it is. Because this is an attack on the information itself. If you're not familiar with the auto key card, it's basically an etching on a piece of steel and or a schematic. So if that becomes, like, the ATF wins that case, that opens the door for 3D printing and a bunch of other stuff, because now they have the ability to attack the information itself. It doesn't even have to be the product. So, he put in a non-guilty plea, so that does mean he's going to fight it, but that also means now I can't get a hold of him, because they were holding over his head, you know, we'll let you out while we figure out your sentence, but you got to plead guilty. So they found him as a flight risk. They're not going to let him out. There's an article on this. I'll put a... No, you know what? I'm not even going to link that article. But again, they go back into propaganda. Just like the first article, how they wrapped me into the whole thing and made me look like a bad guy. Well, that was propaganda to try to get me to shut the hell up, because without funding and stuff, he can't really do much. Second article, same crap. Just loaded full of propaganda. It was done by Channel 4. First thing, now this may be a legitimate mistake. They call it an autoseer. And an autoseer is a very, very vague term that's just a rough covering over several different things. Like, it's like the term barrel. If I say a barrel, you know what I'm talking about, but it does not describe the item itself. Why that's a problem is because there are several different types of autoseers. Each individual autoseer needs to be mated up with a particular rifle in order for it to function in full auto. There's the Swift Link, the drop-in autoseer. The particular one in question here is the Lightning Link. Now, the Lightning Link is for a rifle that was made in 1963, and it hasn't been in production for a very, very long time. Now, in all fairness, you can get the parts you need to put in a normal AR-15, some of them, because some of them just, period, it won't work with. But you can get the parts you need in order to make that full auto, but generally speaking, that particular item is made for a rifle that is more or less a curio and relic. Like, it basically doesn't exist. If you try to put that in like any other AR-15, because of how bolt carriers are made now, they won't even fire one shot, much less full auto. His final charges, now the indictment's open. I don't know how to search indictments, but I'll put a screenshot of the one page the news people posted, because I would like it if somebody could send that to me, because I'd like to look through it and just see exactly what they got on him. But anyway, the indictment is open, or at least to this news station. He's facing 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Again, I already talked about him being a flight risk. Now, the rest of the propaganda, because with the whole community supporting him, he'll walk. So, the first thing they hit on is his cost versus profit to try to turn you guys off to make him feel like some sort of crook or thief in the middle of the night, so you won't support any fundraisers or anything like that. And speaking of fundraisers, there is a fundraiser going, which you can search. That guy contacted me how to get the money to him, but we'll get into that a little bit later. That is a legitimate fundraiser. That one is not being run by me. I will set up a fundraiser when I have contact with him personally, so I know where the money needs to go, or some sort of a lawyer, or something like that. I don't want to just take possession of the money, because what the hell am I going to do with it? That ain't going to help him at all. I mean, yeah, it would buy me a whole bunch of strippers if I can't find anywhere to put it, but what does that do for him? So that is a legitimate fundraiser. That guy did contact me, and I'm like, hey, you know, you can keep this up for now, but as soon as I find a legitimate place for that money to go, he's going to put that GoFundMe money into the GoFundMe I'm running, and then we'll get that to him. The next thing they attack is his brother. If you're not aware of it, his brother was or is, I don't know if he got fired or not, a police officer. And I assume they suspect he may be able to give not Justin. It's just what I called him because I was operating under a false name forever. So if I say Justin, I really mean his real name, which I'll put right here. So I'm just going to call him Justin because I called him that for so long, it's just stuck in my head. Justin. Anyway, I believe they're worried he might be able to rally some sort of support for Justin, so now they're attacking him. Like in their article, there was no reason whatsoever to mention him, and yet they did. So that's some more propaganda they're shelling out there. I already talked about the SP1. Alright, so as you'll notice in this sketch of him in the courtroom, there's a lady sitting next to him and there is an empty chair next to him. Now, I do know his public defender was in fact a lady. Do not go hard on this lady yet because I don't know the facts. But he should have a legal team with him right now. I arranged a legal team to defend him. I shouldn't say I arranged it. I talked to somebody that arranged it for me. The point is, there should be a legal team defending him. Now, when it comes to lawyers, a lawyer can't talk to him directly if he's already got a lawyer because that's conflict of interest. I cannot find this guy. I've tried finding his DOC number, where he's being held, anything to get a message to him to let him know that, hey, we got support for you. Because she's sitting there and not a legal team, that leads me to believe she's bull-guarding him from the proper defense he needs. Again, don't go hard on her yet because I don't know. But a couple of you guys have even told me, like, I have tried to get a hold of her and I haven't got a message back. So it leads me to believe he's being bull-guarded. Because Florida Concealed Carry, they're backed by the GOA. They want to pick up his defense. That's an entire team. His defense spot should be full of people, and it's not. It's got a single lady there. And I know they have tried to get a hold of her. So I don't believe he's getting the message. Not to mention, she's a public defender. He no longer has a need for a public defender. Also, Daniel Kelly is picking up the case. If you are not familiar with that, now again, that if we can't get past this lawyer, none of this matters. It's irrelevant. Because Daniel Kelly is picking up the case, that's everything but assured victory. The reason why is the ATF will go into a courtroom and use logic fallacies, appeal to authority, and that's how they typically win their cases. Because you got your defendant, who is who? He's not an expert. What does he know about firearms? And then you got a government agency that's been put in power specifically to regulate firearms. The jury don't know what the hell's going on, so they default to what the ATF says because they're the authority on the topic. When Daniel Kelly goes in there, an expert in firearms, also an ex-ATF agent, if he walks in the courtroom, he literally takes the ATF and smears them across the floor. They lose consistently against him. So that basically means he's got this in the bag, if we can get past the lawyer. If any of you guys have a family member with him, get a message to him to get a hold of me. That's also very surprising that I haven't got a hold of him yet, because he should have to know that in a case like this that I have personal interest in seeing him win because of the ramifications it's got on firearms for the future of firearms. I would go hard on YouTube. I would get a fundraiser going, set up a defense team, do everything in my power to see to it he wins. And I haven't got a phone call, an email, or a letter yet. So I don't know if he's restricted from those privileges, which means the only person who can talk to him is his lawyer, which is really bad because if he don't find out about these resources he's got, he may not win. As soon as he gets a hold of me, and as soon as we get those resources on him, and I get a fundraiser going, there is no reason whatsoever he should lose this case. So yeah, this is the lawyer's number. That's her name. I'll post that right here. Again, don't go hard on her yet. But the evidence I'm seeing leads me to believe she's bull-guarding him. I don't know if, like, the ATF's like, hey, don't let him talk to the outside world because otherwise we're going to lose this case, or what the deal is. But again, if one of you guys have a family member in there, get a message to him to get a hold of me. He really, really needs to get a hold of me so I can let him know, go ahead and fire your public defender. She is no longer needed, and I have a hell of a lot of resources for you to use, but you got to get a hold of me so I can funnel those resources to you. God, I hope that wasn't illegal. There's probably some law against what I just said, but oh well. You know what? If they're going to spin the propaganda machine to try to stack the deck so he loses, I'm going to use every resource in my power to try to make sure he has the best chance at winning. And for real, with an entire defense team, plus Dan O'Kelly, plus whatever I get in a fundraiser thrown at that case, it's all but a victory. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't see into the future, but I really don't see him losing that case. And that's good because that'll set a precedence against when they try to attack 3D printing and other stuff like that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, help support the channel. Got my Patreon right down there. I also have affiliate links in the description down below. Just by clicking on those links and doing the Amazon shopping you're going to do anyway, even if you don't buy what the link is for, I still get a little kickback for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Why do you gotta be such a heartless little brat?
If I am such a brat, then why don't you spank me right now, Daddy, and show me what a bad girl I have been and teach me a lesson.
Okay, I might have been overreacting a little bit, Lacey. I love you. I'm never gonna trade you in.
I love you too.
It's not the action I wanted, but it's the action I can get.